This is breaking news from RTV6, working for you.
Breaking news to begin this midday. We have just received word the counselor who was fired by a Catholic high school over her same-sex marriage is now taking that school to federal court. The lawsuit was announced just moments ago. Our Rafael Sanchez has a copy of that lawsuit. He joins us now from the live desk with more. Rafael.
Hey, Meredith. Good afternoon. These are the 17 pages that make up that complaint filed in federal court against Roncalli High School and the Archdiocese of Indianapolis. Fitzgerald was placed on paid leave from her job as a guidance counselor at Roncalli in August of 2018, when the Archdiocese learned that she was married to a woman. The church claimed her same-sex marriage stood against her school contract, and the church believed that marriage is between a man and a woman. Her lawyers want to take this case now before a jury in federal court. Among their arguments, that the church's decision was wrongful and unlawful discrimination, specifically that the church did not take similar actions against other employees whose actions contradict church teachings. Now, so what does Fitzgerald want? She wants, from a jury, she wants back pay from the church with interest for mental anguish and emotional distress. She says she wants compensatory and punitive damages that must be determined by a jury, and she also wants her legal bills to be paid. In the last 5 minutes or so, we received a statement from the Archdiocese, just got it off the printer. So let me just read to you what this says in part. They go on to say, many families in our community have sacrificed so that their children can attend schools where they will learn the Catholic faith. They rely on the Archdiocese to uphold the fullness of Catholic teaching throughout its schools, and the Constitution, they say, fully protects the church's efforts to do so. This just coming in to the newsroom. We'll have much more on this developing story on the RTV6 app, our website, theindychannel.com, and beginning tonight, team coverage at 5 o'clock. That is the latest from the live desk. Meredith, now back to you.
Rafael, thank you. We want to take a turn now and take a live look from the IMS Pagoda. You can see some cloud cover out there today. It's a bit of a cooler afternoon out there. And Todd, when we saw you earlier this morning, you said there was a bit of a breeze. Is it still windy out?
Sure is. We still have wind gusts up there anywhere from 20 to 30 miles per hour, and that's making these temperatures feel even a little bit cooler than what they are in the low to mid 50s right now. 50 in Crawfordsville, 55 in Indy, 57 right now in Bloomington. But here are those wind gusts just in at the top of the hour here. 33 mile per hour wind gust in Indy, 30 in Lafayette, and this is really unfortunately where they stay throughout much of the afternoon. We're not really going to see the winds die off much until probably late tonight and more so overnight. As far as the sky cover goes, for the most part, it's going to look like this with mostly cloudy skies. However, there will be a few peaks of sunshine in the clouds, and you can see it down here as you see that little break in the cloud, putting a little sunshine there just north of downtown. As this band of cloud cover moves through, the further north you are, the thicker the clouds will be. The further south you are, that's where the skies will be a little bit sunnier. As far as rain, though, we do not have to worry about that. So temperatures only go up another degree or two for your afternoon high, but with the wind, it feels cooler than that. The clouds break this evening. That sets us up for the best weather day of the week tomorrow. More on that coming up in just a few minutes.
Todd, thank you. A startling scene this morning on the east side of Indianapolis. A bus taking kids to school slams into the side of a pawn shop. Here is what we know so far. Police say they were called to the scene just before 7 o'clock this morning, and officers found the bus mostly inside the Cash America building at East 16th Street and Emerson Avenue. 23 high school students were on the bus at the time, but no injuries were reported. They were all released to their parents. Crash investigators are still trying to figure out exactly how the bus ended up slamming right into the building. The flu season has just begun, and already Marion County has had its first death related to the virus. The Marion County Health Department will only say the death happened somewhere in the county. The identity of the victim will not be released. The health department says it's another reminder that doctors recommend that anyone over the age of 6 get the flu vaccine. The department is frequently holding flu shot clinics across the county. We have information on those at theindychannel.com. New this midday, Metro Police are investigating a shooting that happened on the far northeast side. Officers were called late last night to a home on Whipperal Place, that's near East 86th Street and Hague Road. They did not find a shooting scene there, but later police were told about a shooting victim who walked into a hospital in the area. That victim is expected to recover. Police have not released any further information about possible suspects. Day 2 of the disciplinary hearing for Attorney General Curtis Hill. More witnesses are testifying right now about what they saw the night of a party last year that could end up costing Hill his job. Our Alyssa Donovan has been following this testimony. Alyssa, who is the special judge in this case hearing from?
So Meredith, yesterday the hearing featured all 4 of the women who accused Hill of touching them inappropriately at that party. It was at AJ's Lounge in Indy right after the legislative session ended in March of 2018. Today, those who say they saw Hill's behavior toward the women have been on the witness stand. Most of the witnesses are members of the legislative staff or lobbyists, and many of them say they were surprised to see the married Hill at the party. That's because in the past, statewide elected officials generally did not attend. Those witnesses described how the Attorney General appeared to be intoxicated and was touching and in some cases dancing aggressively around several women. As they did yesterday, Hill's attorneys tried to cast doubt about the stories of the witnesses, frequently asking them how much they had been drinking the night of the party. Now, we do know that this case is about more than what happened at that party, as Hill is also accused of changing his story about what happened that night after he was confronted by state legislative leaders. Our political reporter Matt McKinney is inside the state Supreme Court hearing room where this hearing is happening. You can follow him on Twitter for all of the details on today's testimony. And you can find much more on this case on the RTV6 app and the IndyChannel.com.
Alyssa, thank you. New this midday, a former school nurse in southern Indiana has pleaded guilty to charges that she stole medicine from students at her schools. Back in March, we told you about the arrest of Carol Sanders. She was a nurse with Mitchell Community Schools in Lawrence County. Prosecutors say Sanders admitted to stealing amphetamines, Ritalin, Zyrtec, and other medications from students at Burris Elementary and Hatfield Elementary schools. Sanders' nursing license remains suspended by the state. She pleaded guilty to theft and neglect of a dependent. Her sentencing is scheduled for next month. Another key witness in the impeachment investigation, coming up what he is saying in the reaction from the president that is causing controversy. And Say It Ain't So Trip, one of the most loved mascots in all of sports, with a major announcement today. Up next, he will join us in studio with the bittersweet news. Todd.
And Meredith, lots of clouds around here at this noon hour. It's breezy as well, giving you that true fall-like feel, but better days are ahead. We'll talk all about it in your Storm Team 6 forecast. You're watching the news at noon right here on RTV6.
New Mix Dish tonight on ABC.
A bittersweet announcement from Butler University today. For the past 8 years, Butler Blue 3, or Trip as he's known, has served as the beloved mascot for the Bulldogs. But today, Trip announced that this year will be his final year before he retires. And not only that, the man who has taken care of Trip and brought him to Butler fans all over the country, Michael Kaltenmark, is also retiring from the job as handler of the school's mascots. We are thrilled they are joining me today, along with the man who will be taking Michael's place as the handler of the next Butler mascot, Evan Krause. Guys, thanks so much for joining me this afternoon. I think a lot of people are curious, what led to this decision?
Well, for Trip, it was easy, right? He's going to be 8 in December. Average lifespan of the Bulldogs, 8 to 12 years. It's just simple math, right? He's in good health. We want him to go out on good terms as being mascot. So that was easy. For myself, it was a little bit more difficult. But I've been doing this for 15 years, and it was a good time to hang it up. I mean, between doing the dog thing for 15 years, having 2 boys who are getting older, they're starting to have schedules of their own, and then also I'm on the kidney transplant donor list, or receiving list, hopefully, and I need a kidney, and given those health conditions, you know, I felt like now's a good time to hang it up.
Absolutely, absolutely. So what does the passing of the bone, let's say, take? How is this transition going to work?
Well, fortunately, Evan's been with me for a while now, so he's been able to see how I do this, and I've been able to mentor him and help him along. So he's ready. I have no worries about Evan, but there's going to be another dog, right? That's what everybody wants to know, where Blue the Fourth is coming from. And we've been working with our vet, Dr. Kurt Phillips, to identify another dog. Part of it is we have to identify a new breeder. The breeder that we used previously obviously is retired, so we have to find a new breeder, then a new dog. So a lot of variables, a lot of unknowns, but we're working through it. We're excited about what the future lies for us.
And obviously Tripp has a lot to say about this,
Yes.
you know, just, yeah, some heavy and hard news today. I want to go back, though, to you being on the kidney recipient list. What can people do? That is something so important, and we have been following your story here for quite some time. What can people do to help you out so that you can have a nice, long, wonderful life with
thank
your
you.
family?
Well, I'm in good shape because a lot of people have come forward and have been willing so generously, so selflessly to give me a kidney. And so I have a lot of people who are potential matches. So now we're just working through the process. So this will happen sooner than later. But if people are still interested, they can go to iuhealth.org/transplant, click on the button there that's right on the center of the page, and just fill out the form. And they can see if they're a match for me, but really, I'm in good shape. They can see if they're a match for somebody else, which would be really cool.
Okay, wonderful. Well, we'll keep an eye on that, and we'll also keep an eye on when your replacement gets hired, buddy.
Yeah.
Well, it has been fun watching you guys over the year, and we'll be looking forward to the newest addition to the team.
Appreciate it.
We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Schedule an in-person meeting.
Today, the top U.S. diplomat to Ukraine is testifying in the House impeachment investigation. Bill Taylor's text messages with EU Ambassador Gordon Sondland are a key piece of the investigation. Meanwhile, President Trump is lashing out at his own party, and as ABC's Mona Kosar Abdi tells us, the president is taking heat for comparing the investigation to a lynching.
President Trump's acting ambassador to Ukraine arriving on Capitol Hill this morning. Bill Taylor avoided questions as he made his way into a closed-door deposition with House investigators leading the impeachment inquiry against President Trump. Democrats expected to press Taylor on his now public text exchange with the European Union ambassador Gordon Sondland, in which Taylor wrote, quote, "I think it's crazy to withhold security assistance for help with a political campaign." Some 5 hours later, Sondland replied, quote, "The president has been crystal clear, no quid pro quos of any kind." That message, Sondland testified to committees last week, was dictated by the president himself. Ahead of Kelly's deposition, the president distancing himself from his diplomats.
They're interviewing ambassadors who I'd never heard of. I don't know who these people are. I never heard of them.
And the president admonishing members of his own party to get in line.
The Republicans have to get tougher and fight.
Trump, who has long equated that fight to a witch hunt, using a stronger word this morning, writing in an incendiary tweet, quote, "All Republicans must remember what we are witnessing here, a lynching, but we will win." Longtime Illinois Congressman Bobby Rush tweeted, quote, "Do you know how many people who have looked like me have been lynched since the inception of this country by people who look like you? Delete this tweet." And Congressman Jim Clyburn also pointing out the racial overtone.
I represent the 6th Congressional District of South Carolina, and I know the historical context of that term.
Meanwhile, Republican Congressman Jim Jordan, the president's close ally, adhering to Trump's call and offering this defense.
The president's frustrated. I mean, if you had to go through the 3 years that the president's had to live through, I think that just is an example of the frustration the president feels.
Republican Senator Lindsey Graham also weighing in, defending the president's use of the word lynching and saying of the impeachment process, quote, "This is a lynching in every sense." Mona Kosar Abdi, ABC News, Washington.
It is a cloudy Tuesday afternoon out there, and there's a bit of a breeze in the air. Meteorologist Todd Clausen joining me now at the desk. Is that wind going to die down at all today?
No, not until after sunset tonight. So what you contend with for this noon hour is probably what you contend with throughout much of the afternoon, and it's pretty strong out there. Peak wind gust the last hour, 35 miles per hour up in Muncie, 33 in Indianapolis, 30 in Lafayette. Probably not enough to cause any damage out there. It is strong enough, though, to be a major inconvenience, and also enough to take some of those leaves off the trees and kind of accelerate the fall here. So just be careful if you're going to be out and about with the leaves on the ground and then the wet ground still below it. Could be pretty slippery on some of the sidewalks if you're going to be out and about throughout the course of the day. So the clouds are definitely in place here at this noon hour. You see a few breaks in the clouds, resulting in a little bit of sunshine here and there. And here's a live look in Greencastle where you can see the trees changing color nicely there across the campus of DePaul University. A pair of 5s is your temperature. There's the sustained winds. You just saw the wind gust, and they're out of the west-southwest. But because they're out of the westerly direction, it's going to prevent our temperatures really from climbing much more here throughout the day today. That combined with the lack of sunshine. 57 right now in Bloomington. It's 54 in Tipton and Richmond. You're sitting at 51 degrees, and it's 56 as you make your way up into the Muncie area. The clouds will be a little thicker in northern locations. As a result, only about 54 degrees for your high temperature. There will be just a little more in the way of sunshine in southern locales. So I do think you can get up to right around 60 degrees in both Bloomington as well as Columbus here throughout the afternoon hours. And you can see on the satellite radar picture how there's breaks in the clouds in Bloomington, but from Indianapolis to the north, the cloud deck is pretty solid. As far as these showers, I guess you can't completely rule out the chance of more of a sprinkle from Logansport to Peru, maybe over towards Hartford City and points to the north. Not expecting any rainfall here in the metro area or points to the south. And again, if you did even see that, it's going to be very, very light. But here's the big counterclockwise rotation around that area of low pressure. What we need is for this to depart, and that finally happens later on this evening. So here's the view on TrueCast. Again, the clouds will continue to make their way through the area, diminishing as we head into the overnight hours. As that happens, our temperatures will start to cool off quite quickly. So we're still looking at temperatures in the 50s here while the clouds are in place. As soon as those clouds break, we're into the 40s. And by the time you wake up tomorrow morning, we are looking at temperatures that are going to be in the 30s across most of the area. So it's a very chilly and frosty start to the day tomorrow, but we'll have plenty of sunshine. That is the good news, and that'll help to warm us up quite quickly. We're up to 64 degrees. Tomorrow will be the best weather day of the week, because as we work our way into Thursday, there could be the chance of a spot shower, 61 degrees, and better shower chances on Friday, with the temperature declining even further down about 54 degrees. And then as we work our way into the weekend, it does look like it will be sunny on Saturday. That is the good news, with highs right around 60 degrees. And then as we continue into Sunday, we are going to be looking at more shower chances in the forecast, right around 64, but just kind of breezy, cloudy, and cool afternoon. So keep that jacket handy.
Awfully end of October-like.
It is. You know, you think of fall, and these are the days you think of. So pretty seasonal.
All right, Todd, thank you. When we come back, it's time for Pet of the Week. This is Mama Cass. She's chowing down on some treats right now. We're going to learn a little bit more about this gal when we get back.
Fitting at the Good Feet store.
All right, Colleen Walker from the Humane Society of Indianapolis is here with our Pet of the Week. Before we introduce to Mama Cass, Colleen just told me Pumpkin, our Pet of the Week last week, was seen right here on the noon show and got adopted this week. So we're going to go for 2 for 2 here, hopefully, with Mama Cass. So let's talk about Mama Cass here a little bit, Colleen.
She's a very energetic 3-year-old. As you can tell, she doesn't want to stop moving. Here's your taco. And yeah, she had babies before she came to us, hence the name.
Right.
But she's a big sweetie. She would do better in a home without cats or dogs.
Okay, so no other pets. And an active home, right? Somebody that likes probably to be out and about, to take walks, maybe has a bigger backyard that she could go out and run around in.
Oh, yeah. She's definitely, I mean, she has not stopped moving since I got here.
So she's an energetic dog, but she's still only 3 years old.
Yeah.
So she still has a lot of fight left in her. So as we go throughout the course of this adoption process, you guys have a foster program, right?
Yes.
And that's the good thing with Mama Cass. There is no fee for her if you want to adopt her.
There's no fee, and we do actually have our foster to adopt, so you'll be able to foster her to make sure that she's good for your home before you can actually officially adopt her.
All right, so that's a win-win situation for everybody. You get to get introduced to Mama Cass, and then if she's perfect for your home, you don't have to pay a fee. So, all right, remember, 2 for 2. Last week, Pumpkin got adopted. Mama Cass, we need to get her a good home this week as well. Let's take a look at your 7-day planning forecast, and it's a decent afternoon for us. It's kind of cloudy right now. It's a little breezy. Temperatures will be in the 50s, but it will be dry. That's the good news. Tomorrow morning's chilly, down to right around 40, but it's the best day of the week with 63 your high and lots of sunshine. And then rain showers return to the forecast starting on Friday with a high of 55 degrees.
All right, Todd, thank you. And thank you for making RTV6 your choice for news. We hope to see you back here at 5. In the meantime, have a great afternoon and maybe head to the Humane Society and take home Mama Cass. We'll see you later.